episode for you today. How many of you like stunts? Maybe you're familiar with One Tree Hill, The Vampire Diaries, Eastbound and Down. Man, you might be, reminiscent of all of the great things that happened in those movies. Well, we got a great stunt man. He is the beast of stunts. We're going to be talking with Preston Corbell on the other side of this episode recorded. If you're watching the playback of this or if you're listening, you want to zoom in and get ready to get back up and run again and play this over and over again, because there's going to be some great stuff that you're going to be hearing in this episode on the Transform D Live show. So sit tight and come a little bit closer. Okay, we're back. So as promised, I got Preston Corbell with us, American stuntman and actor. He has some notable stunt roles, including what's going on, Preston, brother?
What is up, Marcus? I'm actually really looking forward to this show, man.
Yes, indeed. I got a chance to give a brief little introduction, but I always like for my guests to kind of introduce their own selves in their own words. Maybe there's some cool things that I might have left out on or breezed on. It's also more interesting to hear about the transformation stories. How you got to where you are. From you just your own mouth. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Preston.
Just to give you a short history of myself. I started out as a kid actor, kind of just doing some bit roles, some small roles in acting, and that kind of escalated to I did Cabin Fever, a couple Cabin Fever movies as Bunny Man, and then my big thing that I did was One Tree Hill, which kind of rolled all the other projects. That was kind of my home was One Tree Hill, where I worked as Lucas Scott's stunt double, photo double, for multiple seasons. So that was really a fun experience. Early 2000s. I remember I'll show you how old I am. I remember season 3, we switched from the WB to the CW, if you remember.
Yeah.
And then it was actually the first year YouTube launched. So it's a ways back there, but enough to do. It was a ways back. But I was lucky enough to do Eastbound and Down, Kenny Powers. Later in my career, I got to work with Marvel and DC. Just a lot of cool projects like Daredevil and Punisher and Doom's Patrol, and then Reno 911. So I've been over 100 things. Been doing it for 20 years. Love it. Body's beat up as a natural stuntman would be, and I'm here to talk about it with Marcus today.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I love that, man. And one of the questions you probably get asked the most, and it's like, and me being a Marvel fanatic too, and I wouldn't be mad at all if you didn't say, one of your Marvel projects wasn't your most fun project. But what is your most fun projects, that sticks out to you?
So Marvel was it was towards the end of my career, so later on, and shows, and those were Netflix shows, the Marvel ones. And I got to do some wire work, which was really fun. And,
right, yeah.
Later on, and I wasn't familiar with wire work. Going into that was kind of a new world for me. And then, but traditionally, I did practical stunts. So if I got hit by a car, I got hit by a car, jump off buildings, get set on fire, all kinds of fun stuff that you're actually rolling through the stunts where maybe not all, but maybe some DC and Marvel stuff, you're kind of doing wire work and you're kind of going through the motions, lots of green screen. It's totally different work, very hard what they do, and I'm just a practical stunt guy, so I like to just, do the stunt that we're doing and kind of focus on the reality in that moment and not so much wire work.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty hard to do for just anybody in any profession, is just to focus in that moment. I think it takes a lot of skill to to be able to just be in that moment and really perfect every action, every moment. How do you to prepare yourself mentally, because I know it takes a lot of work, to get your body to do what it needs to do, but I know it takes a lot of mental practice. So what is your focus look like? How do you do it?
And I answer that two parts. One, how's my body held up over 20 years? How it's different when I was 20 and when I'm 40, or 38, excuse me. But mentally preparing for stunts, the biggest misconception, the biggest question I get, and the most assumption is we're adrenaline junkies, and we're not.
Right.
When we go through that moment, we're trying not to get hurt. We're trying not to mess up the scene. We're trying to get smooth so we can move on. If we mess up our leg or we break a bone, we don't get a paycheck tomorrow. There's always a younger person, someone cheaper to take our place. So, if you're preparing, maybe getting hit for a car, you are very strategic. You're very, intellectually honed in on exactly the split second you have to roll on that car, exactly how fast that car is going, and everything. So if you're adrenaline junkie and you're hyped up and you're ready to go, you're not going to do that well in stunts, in my opinion, because you're not mentally there, and we can't get hurt. And if we're getting hurt all the time, we might as well have the actor's dirt, So
Exactly.
that's what we're there for, is to not do that. The other part, preparing for stunts physically. Obviously, when I was 20, I was ready to go. Later on, you gather injuries and concussions and broken bones and torn ligaments and everything else. And so later on in my career, I'm assessing what hurts the most that day, treating that. But our unique thing is when we're injured, we still have to work, because we're always overcoming some injury, and we still have to work through that. So that's kind of the mentality of a professional athlete, of working through pain constantly.
Yeah, because in a sense, you guys are athletes, as well as actors, and it's almost likened to professional wrestler in a sense.
Very much so.
You guys could usually translate your skills over to becoming professional wrestlers. Have you ever known of any stuntmans that that made that transition over to WWE or
I would say wrestling very similar to what we do, just based on the injuries and the constant wear and tear in their body and what they're going through. It's very similar. Personally, with anyone that's gone into wrestling and made it big, I don't. But there's a lot of crossover. I mean, you're now seeing Ninja Warrior, and a lot of them are doing stunts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of crossover stuff like that. And there's more people getting into it, where, when I first started in the early 2000s, late 90s, there wasn't a lot. There's a very core group of people, and now there's a lot more productions too, so it's a lot more work. But yeah, it's definitely similar to wrestling, I would say, which I love wrestling. So
yeah, man, dudes our age, we had the good stuff back in the day. So
yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're always like, it's not fake, and they get offended, and I understand why. Yeah, it's choreographed, but man, their injuries are not fake, and
Oh no, that's real interesting.
That is not fake. They are beat the hell up.
Yeah, that's for sure. And speaking of which, man, and this is where I give you guys the most credit at, and you mentioned it, you gotta get ready for the next job, right away, and and this is where strength, real mental strength comes from, what does your self-care routine look like, what do you do just to take care of yourself, on a day-to-day, do you get massages, or do you ice up? What do you do?
So, older, later on in life, I really focus on resistance training, a lot of resistance bands. It's just easier on your joints, and I'm constantly, something's hurting on my body, so it's just easier for me to use resistance to train with, and plus you can travel with it, so I think it's fantastic. And resistance bands and all that stuff's kind of underrated. Everyone thinks it's not the cool thing to do, the macho thing to do, but no, resistance bands have helped me overcome injuries and definitely work through injuries. And then low impact weights, just doing a lot of reps. But as far as my body being beat up, I live on the heating pad. The heating pad, got a big old heating pad, and it's on some part of my body every day. And then massages when you can get them and stuff like that. But you're always in pain some way or another, and I always will be. And I've had a huge back injury on a set during wire work, so that's always going to be there. But it's a badge of honor. It's something it's from something pretty cool I did, so I'm proud to wear it.
Man, I tell you about those resistance bands. Like, my physical therapist gave me one, and like they will wear your ass out. I love them. I love them. Like so. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm gonna start recommending them a little bit more for those who just want to like get back into like the routine of working out, or just want to just keep themselves toned up a little bit. That's great, man. And heating pads, definitely. Like man, I was in the hospital recently, and I was having like real huge like neck issues and back issues, and they gave me the one that you shake up, you crack open and shake up. Woo, feel great.
What did you do to your back?
No, I was just having body aches, just having some body aches, man. You get older, you just have body aches.
A pencil and you throw out your back, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so what you're saying is pure gospel. Yeah, definitely. So like in thinking about that, because you dropping some real good gems, man. And a lot of what you're talking is like it speaks to like what my audience definitely going to cling to. You're going to get a lot of people like hitting you up. So like what is your goals nowadays? Because like you said, there's so much work still to do, and I know there's a lot of the young guys are probably like that's kind of hitting you up for questions.
So I retired about a year or two ago from stunts. Body can't do it anymore. Just getting injured everything I do. So, but I luckily went to school, and I'm in my doctoral dissertation, so I'm defending that currently. Very end, and I'm going to be a sports psychologist, which really cool because I can take my stunt knowledge and being an athlete for 20 years and getting in the mind of a professional athlete as a psychologist, and kind of I think a lot of men kind of struggle with admitting, and it's getting better. You see a lot of athletes come out talking about mental health, which is fantastic. And you can even do mental health through online in the comfort of your own home, which is something great that came out of the pandemic where we can do that. So, I mean, I'm moving from that stunt career on to helping athletes, helping people in sports, and mentally get better. So definitely transition and doing the same line of work.
Oh yeah, it's so much. It's so needed. It no matter how much we talk about it, it still feel like it's an underrated topic, especially in sports. And we see in so many guys who they are the gladiators of today. So they're the warriors of today, and they beat the bodies up, and but like mentally they're also beat up and drained. What type of challenges mentally do some of the stuntmen like kind of go through once they kind of leave the sport.
I think like a lot of professional athletes struggle when they're retired. Luckily, I kind of got to retire when I wanted to. My body kind of gave out, but I had a great career, so time to retire anyway. But a lot of maybe like football players get cut and they never get signed again, and they're kind of like left in a position where they have to forcefully retire, or they retire on their own. But either way, I think a lot of us look at NFL as they had a 6-year NFL career, but they actually started playing sports and football when they were like really young, and then throughout that they played at an extremely high level. All the way through high school and college and NFL. That was their life. They sacrificed everything in life to be this professional athlete. That is their identity. That's all they know. Now it's gone. So that's tough, and I struggle with it some too. Where that was all that I knew. That's a huge part of my identity and still is. But I struggle with that's not there anymore. What do you do? And I think like an NFL player, if they're cut, they're like, what do I do with my life now? Or how do I even pick up the pieces and build more relationships with my family? Or what do I go on as a career? And there's a lot of that situation that I think someone who is or was a professional athlete would understand that more. So I would love to bring that knowledge to the table.
Yeah, you definitely can relate to that. Having did this for so long. Started when you were young, and that's what a lot of military veterans go through. This is definitely an ongoing battle, man, and this is why I love talking to people like you, because like I absorb so much of your knowledge, and it reciprocates back to my audience, and it's great, man. Being able to like have these conversations, and people can really relate, because like you said, uh, once you leave, it's like what is there left to do? What is there? It's like oh, am I just a shell of like what I used to be now? you know, and it's you gotta continue to purpose, like you gotta repurpose what you used to be, So and I'm just proud of that you were able to continue on, brother.
I could see that. I see what you're talking about with military, and that's
Mhm.
definitely, that would be an identity. That would be your core thing that you did so
Right.
long. You're not doing it anymore. So, and you
Yeah,
were in the
absolutely.
military.
Yeah,
What,
absolutely. Yep.
did
Yeah.
you go through something like that where that was your identity, and now you're kind of
Yeah,
transitioning in life?
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, right after leaving deployment, when I got hurt in the military, and I came back, and that was a big thing for me. It's like I couldn't go back in, and for about over a year, I was like, man, what do I do? So, yeah, PTSD, slammed down on me real hard, so, because of that loss of identity. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So with that being said, uh, with uh, with like the doubling, because I know with doubling for actors, you know, um, and being behind the scenes, um, have you ever been asked like like and a lot of times, like the people who are watching the movies, they don't know who's doing the stunts. Um, yeah, unless it's one of your friends, like they know that you did the stunts, But have they ever asked you like hey, like did you meet that actor, or was there any bit of like, oh, okay, like I should have won the award, or for doing that stunt, or or anything like that.
I was fortunate enough to do Comic Cons for many years, so
Hmm.
I got to just be around fans of those shows, fans of those movies. That's a great position to be in. And when you're a stunt, you get some appreciation finally. But
Yeah.
I think with me, with not being maybe people don't know Stuntman, and obviously we're trying to look like the actor. But I think we know that, and it's a sense of pride. So we're not out there to be famous if we're stuntmen. We're
Hmm.
out there to kind of leave our bodies and our hearts on that project. So that's a big thing. I will say one thing that is kind of interesting about my career. I did Eastbound and Down and One Tree Hill a couple seasons about the same time. They were just off schedule. They were filmed on
Hmm.
the same lot. And Kenny Powers is significantly different looking than
Yeah.
Lucas Scott. But I had to balance that within a year, so I had to gain a lot of weight and I had to lose a lot of weight within that
Right.
year. And I had to look like Kenny Powers and Lucas Scott in the same year. So you have to be very versatile with what you do with stunts, because you can't just look like a certain thing and hope you get a job just from that.
Yeah.
You have to be very versatile and know your body. I mean, I know how to gain weight and lose weight very quick, and I know how I need to stay fitness-wise, so I'm able to boom gain weight, get muscle, and boom lose weight quick. So you got to be. It's discipline. You got to be very very disciplined as a stuntman.
Yeah, that's for sure. And and I just thought about like what I was trying to compare that to. It's like football, where they always say like, oh, defense wins games, but offense gets the glory. Something like that. Yeah, that's sort of like what it is. So, yeah, yeah, but yeah, like total transformation. Like you have to do in the Hollywood industry. You have to be able to make that transformation for those roles, and it takes a lot of discipline.
Now you make money, so you got to be able to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like just looking back on your career, man. And your career is still going. With this new transition. Um, Is there anything you would have did differently, or something that you look at and you just you magnify more on?
I think, I mean, there's always roles I wish I took, but I took
Hmm.
other roles that weren't that as important, and vice versa. There's always that. But no, I'm very very proud of my history, very proud of the work I put in, and I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be able to be a psychologist and help people and athletes and sports without that experience. So no, I'm very happy where or am, and I'm happy with everything I've done.
Yeah. Now, is there a way that you can there's a lot of professionals who struggle with that, who's always looking back and trying to
Yeah.
trying to reach back to the past and say, oh man, I wish I would have did that, I wish I would have did that, and it's keeping them from moving forward. You on the other hand, you can look back and say, yeah, I should have, but that's fine. You okay with that? You made peace with that. How do you get people to make peace?
So from
Uh,
the psychology point of view, if you're really stuck on I should have done this and my career would have been so much better and I would have succeeded so much more, you're focusing on that one aspect instead of you can transition that and focus on what did I accomplish in my career, how hard did I work to get it, and how proud I am of what I did in that body of work. So get rid of I didn't do this and I didn't have that opportunity. That's negative talk. You did something awesome and get in their head. You did something awesome. You accomplished a lot. You got something very proud to be. People would die to be in your position. You are a badass. So let's focus on that. And that's you just got to transition the mind thought and process.
I like that. I really like that. That's terrific. That's terrific advice, man. A lot of people don't realize how awesome they are, just with the life they didn't live already, and a life lived is a life well lived. So
Sure.
yeah, so yeah, man, like, just looking at the landscape of Hollywood right now, um, and just looking at um, when we remove all of the fluff, and all of the things that that are kind of kind of exposed to the kids today now, versus when we were coming up. I know it seemed like I don't know. It seems like it was a little bit more innocent than it is now. I mean, they don't really give you the true. Um, uh, I don't know. It seems.
I I think unfortunately we're so like a 3 to 5 second society with entertainment. We got TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram, and if it doesn't grab our attention in 3 seconds, forget it. And I honestly, and I do this, I spend more time clicking through Netflix to find something to watch than to actually
Mhm.
watch something. Because we have too many options where,
Yeah.
when we were children or, when I did One Tree Hill in the early 2000s or something, you really didn't have a lot of options. I mean, there was only certain shows in a genre that you liked. And
Right.
now I'm spending 20 minutes on Netflix looking for something to watch, and then I end up not watching anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
not even going through Netflix anymore. So it was innocent, but then there was a lot less, and we're so over stimuli. We have too much stimuli around us that we don't focus on the cool things about film. Like I don't like if Jason and Freddy came out now, they
Mhm.
wouldn't be iconic. They would just be another movie out there. But then they were huge, and that
Exactly.
group of kids carry that on, and how special that was, and what a special time. And if they came out today, they wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't even think about them because they'd be another movie. So we do miss that innocence, which is kind of sad. But there's just so much content that it's hard for us to
Yeah.
get attached to anything. Because if we watch a show and it kind of sucks one episode, we're like, forget this, and we're watching something else. So
Yeah. 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 So you know exactly what I mean then.
it's hard for actors because they're in a show, and then as soon as that show's over, everyone forgets about them. And then
Right.
you're back to no work because there's all these younger, cheaper actors to get. So
That's got to be tough, man. Yeah, I guess this is why personal brand is so important. why you have to build like such a huge following and have like such a huge tribe to to have someone to cling on to you, have people to cling on to you and just follow your work now, because like you said, once the show's over with, that's it.
Yeah.
And once the
Yeah.
movie's out, it gets a couple buzz for about a month if you're lucky.
Yeah, you got to find something that's unique to you and stick with
Mhm.
that. We'll say I'm going to plug my video that just came out. It's 5 things I wish I knew before I was a stuntman. But it's really cool because it's nothing real in depth, but it's these things that I really wish I knew
Mhm.
when I started. One, for example, is being humble. As stuntmen, we're not on the screen as being. We don't want to be superstars. We want to be behind the scenes making the magic. We are the ones that are doing this cool stuff and putting everything together. And that's a great mindset because we are the badass ones. We are, and we know we are, but we don't get that recognition, and we're okay with that. We're putting our
Right.
bodies on the line, so we need to be humble. Be versatile with our bodies. Kind of get into any character you need to get into, and stuff like that. I mean, I wish I listened to my body. If I listened to my body when I was in my 20s, I might not be as. So I guess that's maybe one thing I wish I did different is if I listened to my body. You
Right.
kind of ignore a lot of stuff when you're younger, or even when you're older. You just ignore pains and injuries, and I wish I listened to some of those because they got worse when I got older. But just some fun stuff, some fun facts, and we got a really cool set we're in. We're in a movie set. So just check it out. It's fun. It's only 4 minutes of your time, so it won't take up too much time, but fun video.
Yeah, another thing you got too that's pretty cool, man. People can get from you is Cameo. You on Cameo as well.
I love Cameo. I do
Yeah.
because
So.
I think when in the pandemic, like I said, I went to a lot of Comic Cons. In
Yeah.
pandemic, obviously you can't do anything, so Cameo kind of really lets me reach out, or fans reach out, and even people you don't really know reach out, and then you gain new fans. And I just
Right.
love connecting with people that like the stuff that I was in, or like projects, or love stunts, and I want to learn more about stunts. And I think it's so fun. Cameo has been fantastic for me, just to connect with people, and I love it. I do. I really do.
Yeah, so those who are listening or watching, make sure you hit them up on Cameo. Cameo.com/Preston Corbell. You can get a personalized video. You got business video you can book too. Get a free message. Those are free as well. If you want a message straight from Preston himself. So in 24-hour delivery. So yeah. Um, so like yeah, those are great. Uh, I love Cameo, so I always been a fan of
Yeah.
Cameo.
That's a cool concept, right?
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Yeah, yeah. Outside of like just you know uh, the sports psychology and Cameo and what other things that are you doing for fun, man, or just in your spare time, or what you working on?
I try to I do. I'm pretty big on Instagram, so I try to just focus on like fitness, kind of share some tips, interact with people on there, which is really fun.
Right.
But work keeps me pretty busy, and just fitness is a pretty big part of my life. So so keeping your body well. I'm all about walks because of that. That's my mental release. That's my zen
Yeah.
the day. Even though I'm walking, I'm not running anymore now. But even though I'm walking, it's my zen. It's my therapy. So I love doing that. And but yeah, I just love connecting with people, meeting new people, and just finding the peace in life, like walking and just relaxing.
Walking is so underrated.
Oh,
Yeah, like I do at least 10 minutes of walking a day, at least 10 minutes.
I just put my headphones in and just shut out the world, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah, like oh man, it's great. It's a good way to connect with your community. Um,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
wait.
like, yeah, it's so many things that like it's great. So yeah, so make sure you follow on Instagram stunt.beast. So he's on Instagram. I gotta follow you too as well. I'm gonna do that right now. so, so yeah, I gotta make sure I follow you. So I'll make sure I'm doing that right now. Um, yeah. So yeah. So like we got about 5 minutes left. So yeah. So Preston, if there was anything, you wanted to put out there to the audience, to our Transformers out there, that you haven't put out, or some words of wisdom or anything like that, what would you say to everybody out there?
It's maybe I think you gotta find that one thing that makes you happy, and I think a lot of people ask me how can I get into stunts is always the number one question, but which gets tiring. But I think a lot of people ask how can I excuse me, I'm trying to think. They ask how can I get into stunts, and what is a good way to learn. What do you need to learn to get into stunts? And I think you got to be really good at one thing, and whatever that is, martial arts, or you have no fear and you are calm and collected, but you can do pretty much anything. You're a good kickboxer, you're a good basketball player. Just be really good at one thing, and I think that's with life. Just be really good at one thing. Focus on that, and then the rest will come. And that's what stunts is. You're really good with one thing. You stand out in that elite field. And then as you get the experience, the rest will come, and you'll get a lot more work. And I think with life, that's too. I mean, I think fitness, it gives me that zen and that mental release. So that's the one thing I like to focus on. And then all the other stuff besides work will just fall in. And, just focus on, you don't get another family, and focus on close friends. And, just stay peaceful in life.
Yeah.
And I'm from Austin, Texas, man. Where are you from?
I'm from Milwaukee. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So yeah, I'm in the Midwest. I love you guys down there in Texas. Texas is one of my favorite places, man.
I grew up in Newport Beach, California, so I'm one of those transplants that everyone hates. I love Austin.
Yeah, everybody's leaving California and going to Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's a lot of people that left Milwaukee and moved to Texas too. So everybody migrated from Milwaukee and moved to either Houston, Austin. Some people moved to Austin. So Dallas.
Hot as all get out down there, but. Other than that, Austin's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I'm gonna be visiting down there. I gotta make my rounds around the country a couple times. So
you a Bucks fan?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm big Bucks fan. Giannis took us, finally brought us one home about a year and a half ago.
Well, you would have at least made the finals if you didn't have Middleton hurt last year. So.
I know. Yeah.
Definitely a good future for you guys.
Yeah. And Dallas was pretty close too. So.
I like Luka. I grew up as a Spurs fan, so Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan. But
I like those guys.
That ship has sailed. So I'm on. I love watching Steph too. I love watching Steph in Golden State. I'm on that bandwagon. Yeah. I like that kind of basketball. But Luka's definitely the new guy. So they just need a team around him. They don't have anyone else but Luka. So
that's it. That's all he's missing. But he's definitely next. As soon as they put some good pieces around, he's definitely next. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, sure.
One thing I was gonna say, and I wish I would have asked you this question earlier, but I'm gonna mention it. I'm gonna frame it inside of what I'm gonna say. One thing I find interesting is, people who come from dangerous jobs, like us, we become so peaceful and zen-like.
Because our head's so crazy and our body. Got to come with something. It's like my body's killing me and my head's just crazy. I'm sorry, not just busy. So I need to find something. We're kind of forced into it, but we find it.
Yeah, you find it. Yeah, you gotta be peaceful after that. You gotta find some peace. But the question I should have asked earlier, and it came to me as you was talking, giving your final spill. It's about fear, man. A lot of people. They want to. They don't know they want to. They don't know that they need to ask. How do you get over fear? But my thing is you don't never really get over fear. You have to face it. But how do you face it?
I don't really have a problem with fear. I don't have fear of heights. I mean, and I think. I'm lucky because I got to be a part of a lot of big projects. So you have the best team around you. You have the best medics. You have the best possible position. If something goes wrong, so be it. And I'm okay with that. But that's the best position I can be in, so I don't have fear. I mean, I'm fine getting lit on fire and doing all those cool things. So I don't have the fear going into it, but I also am, when it's time to roll, I'm very calm and within myself, and I kind of shut off and just focus on the stunt with that being. So, but I think people who don't have fear, sometimes are adrenaline junkies and they're not in the right field, but some people just don't have fear and they know that. You know that when you're growing up, you don't have fears, so.
Yeah.
What about you? You got a lot of fear?
No,
What about heights?
I'm not scared of heights.
Oh, good.
I'll go up there and then I realize like, hey, I'm up here with God, so I have to be up here with God. So that's what I cling on to.
Now, snakes are my pitfall. I can't do snakes, but
I can't do birds. I can do snakes, but I can't do birds.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is about birds. I can't do birds. So like that, like what you got behind you right now is a winged animal.
That's a winged monkey. I was in a Ben Stiller movie, so that's the actual costume.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I see that thing flying towards me. Oh man, it will kill me. Yeah, so yeah.
One of my favorite things is the Mothman, and that's massive wings, so.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So other than the Instagram, I mentioned the Instagram earlier, but other than that, where would you like people to contact you at, or reach out to you at if they.
Instagram's the best way. Comment on stuff, and I'll definitely comment back. DM if you got any questions. I'm always there to answer stuff, and it's a nice community that's on there. We got good following, and everyone's nice and polite, and that's a safe community. And Cameo, just hit me up on Cameo, and I'm not really huge on any other social media, so that's about it.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll have that, in the episode description. Transformers. We'll have his Instagram link as well as Cameo link. If you want to read up on him more, he's
Google my name and I'll pop up.
Yeah, yeah, he's searchable. He's not hard to find. When you do a Google or anything like that. But Instagram is definitely the best way to reach out to him. If you're getting lost for whatever reason, which you shouldn't get lost, just reach out to me and I'll redirect you, just like any other URL link. So that's all we have. Unless Preston, you want to say anything else, to our audience out there?
I just want to say thank you guys for putting up with me for this time, and I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Oh man, yeah, this was fun, man. This is this is incredible. This is always a rare occasion, when I get guys like this. So I appreciate you, man. It's sincerely, I enjoyed the conversation. All right, so hold on tight, Preston. We'll end it right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you play this back a couple of times because you might have missed something. And you want to share this with someone you know, someone you don't know, and it does help to further the message of the programming here. Make sure you hit us with a like, a comment, and a subscribe, and hit us with a review. We want to hear what your thoughts are, and reach out to Preston directly. And when you do, let him know, hey, Marcus Hart in the Transform You Live Show sent me right over to give you a friendly gesture. All right, so until next time, many blessings, peace, and lots of love. We're out.